Let us begin once again by settling the mind. As you listen, you do not need to remember everything. Simply allow the words to wash over you, like listening to rain or a quiet stream. The purpose of a Dhamma talk is not to fill the mind with information, but to slowly turn the heart toward clarity and ease. Today, we are reflecting on the Vairocanabhisambhodi Sutra, a teaching that speaks in a symbolic and contemplative language. This discourse does not belong to the early Pali Canon, preserved in the Nikayas. It comes from a later Mahayana context. Still, when we listen carefully, we can hear echoes of the Buddha's original voice. The same concern for suffering, the same emphasis on understanding the mind, and the same invitation to freedom. The Buddha himself encouraged discernment. He asked us not to accept a teaching simply because it is ancient, beautiful, or widely respected, but to look carefully and see whether it leads to peace, clarity, and compassion. With that spirit, we listen not as believers, but as careful listeners. The central image of this sutta is Vairocana, a symbolic Buddha representing awakened awareness itself. This is not meant to describe a distant divine figure. Instead, it points to the quality of knowing that is fully awake, unobstructed, and clear. In simple terms, Vairocana represents what the mind is like when greed, hatred, and delusion are no longer shaping how we see. To understand this, we can look at a very ordinary experience. Imagine you are tired and irritated, and someone speaks to you sharply. In that moment, the mind reacts immediately. You may feel hurt, defensive, or angry. The world seems hostile. But on another day, when the mind is calm and rested, the same words may barely disturb you. You may even respond with patience or humor. The situation is similar, but the mind meeting it is different. This teaching is pointing to that difference. It tells us that suffering does not come primarily from what happens, but from how the mind relates to what happens. When the mind is clouded, the world appears threatening. When the mind is clear, the same world is workable and even instructive. The sutta emphasizes that awakening is not something newly created. This is a very important point. Many people think enlightenment is something rare that must be acquired through heroic effort. But here, awakening is described more like uncovering something that is already present. We can understand this through a simple example. If a mirror is covered with dust, it does not reflect clearly. But the mirror itself is not damaged. When the dust is wiped away, reflection appears naturally. Nothing new has been added. In the same way, when the mind is covered by habits of craving, fear, and confusion, wisdom does not shine through. But when these habits gradually weaken, clarity appears by itself. This is why the Buddha emphasized gradual training. We do not force the mind into awakening. We prepare the conditions. We live ethically, so the mind is less agitated by regret. We practice mindfulness, so the mind becomes steady. We cultivate understanding, so we are less fooled by appearances. When these conditions are present, insight arises naturally. The Vairocanabhisambhodi Sutra speaks of harmony between body, speech, and mind. In everyday life, this means very simple things. It means being careful not to harm through our actions. It means speaking truthfully and kindly. It means watching the mind, especially in moments of strong emotion. For example, when anger arises, instead of immediately acting or speaking, we pause and notice it. We feel it in the body. We see how it wants to push us. This pause itself is already wisdom in action. We are no longer completely controlled by the emotion. Over time, this simple practice changes how the mind works. Another key teaching in this discourse is non-separation. It points to the idea that the sense of being a solid, isolated self is something constructed by the mind. When examined carefully, experience is seen as a flow of changing conditions. The Buddha taught this very clearly in the early discourses. He asked us to look closely and see whether the body, feelings, perceptions, thoughts, or consciousness are truly me or mine. When we look honestly, we see that they arise and pass on their own. They do not obey us. They are not stable. A simple example can help here. When you are listening to music and suddenly get distracted by a thought, where did that thought come from? You did not plan it. It simply appeared. And when it fades, where does it go? Seeing this again and again weakens the belief in a controller inside the mind. This does not make life cold or empty. In fact, it makes it lighter. When we stop taking everything so personally, there is more room for patience and understanding. We suffer less, and we cause less suffering. From this understanding, compassion naturally grows. The sutta emphasizes that wisdom and compassion are not separate qualities. When we see clearly, we see that others struggle in the same way we do. They are pushed by habits, fears, and misunderstandings. This recognition softens the heart. Think of how you feel when you realize someone acted harshly because they were under great stress or pain. The anger often fades, replaced by understanding. This is not because you forced yourself to be kind, but because you saw more clearly. Compassion arose from insight. The teaching also reminds us not to look for awakening only in special states or dramatic experiences. Awakening is expressed in ordinary moments. It shows itself in how we listen to someone without interrupting, in how we admit a mistake without defensiveness, in how we sit with discomfort instead of immediately escaping it. For beginners, this teaching is reassuring. It says you do not need to be perfect. Every moment of mindfulness matters. For experienced practitioners, it is a gentle warning not to cling to concepts, identities, or spiritual pride. The path continues as long as there is clinging. As we come toward the end of this reflection, it is helpful to remember that the Buddha described the Dhamma as something to be seen here and now, not believed in blindly and not postponed to the future. Each time we respond with awareness instead of habit, the teaching becomes alive. So let us end quietly with a simple reflection. Awakening is not elsewhere. It is found wherever the mind meets experience with honesty, patience, and care. There is no need to rush. Walk the path steadily. Let understanding ripen in its own time. May this reflection support calm inquiry, gentle discussion, and a deeper appreciation of the Dhamma in daily life.